Hello everyone, I am Shrivastava and you are watching UPSC Essentials of the Indian Express, and we are going to take up the case study for the week. Case studies are a very essential part of UPSC syllabus, especially the ethics paper. Also, you can take up case studies as example in your GS mains answer, also for essay and interview. One such case which fits in our UPSC syllabus is an article in the Indian Express. A letter from Assam's Namsang, Joypur. This is the way we go to school. This subject is very close to the hearts of people who are concerned about the issue of school dropouts. Dear aspirants, this case study or this article of Torah addresses the problem, or may I say the solutions for the school dropout issue in the Assam tea garden. We shall now curate this article as per the syllabus of UPSC into a case study. We shall call it School Dropouts and the Assam Tea Gardens. Before going ahead, let's look at the case. Literacy and education have been crucial issues for Assam tea gardens. In the absence of high school, children of garden workers have to travel far away from their homeland. 14-year-old Sonali had to rent a room for 400 rupees far away from the tea garden where her family lived. And what for? For higher education. Sadly, she returned to tea gardens where her mother fell ill, money ran out, and Sonali had to leave or quit her studies. Doesn't this sound similar to the story of any school dropout in rural India or any part of the country? This was the case. Now let's look at the issue. The issue here is high level of school dropouts and low literacy rate among the Assam tea garden youth. Now let's look at the problems. Firstly, lack of school education above primary level in the Assam tea gardens. Secondly, according to Plantation Labour Act of 1951, the management of tea gardens is responsible for providing lower primary education. But the management has bigger issues, wages, labour, and therefore the primary education or the education above is no more a priority. The third problem is the poor infrastructure, lack of drinking water, and electricity facilities. Fourthly, in the absence of proper education, children are illegally employed in the tea gardens for work. Fifth, sending children away for higher education is a big financial burden on the poor tea garden workers. The sixth problem is related to teachers. Availability of teachers, and if at all they are available, providing them basic facilities near the tea gardens itself. After these problems, let's look at the solution. The solution is in the form of modern tea garden schools, where schools are set up close to or in the tea garden areas itself. Torah in her article highlights the aim and objectives of such model tea garden schools. The aim, as highlighted by Torah in her article, is to combat dropout rates and facilitate the completion of school education in the tea garden areas of Assam. The objective here is that children will not have to travel far away from their hometowns for their higher education. This will reduce financial burden on the poor tea garden workers. Let's discuss briefly about two of such model tea garden schools as highlighted in the article. The first model tea garden school as highlighted in the article, is at Namsang. Namsang has the most challenging and unique location due to the presence of dense forest, and specifically rainforest. Earlier, it had no water and no electricity. But now, due to government's efforts and initiative, a lot of positive changes have occurred. What are such positive changes? Let's talk about them. Firstly, there is an installation of solar panels. Secondly, pump and purifiers to draw drinking water from the nearby river. Thirdly, a plan to make a reservoir from the nearby river for water harvesting. Fourthly, a plan for a kitchen garden that can take care of supplies for midday meals. Remember, midday meals is an important component of school education in our country. Fifth and most important point here, which I think everyone should note, especially the teachers. The government is requested to motivate the teachers by building residential quarters for the faculty in nearby tea gardens of Assam. The second example is the Model Tea Garden School in Sipon. Tora writes that persuading parents to send their students or children to school is not a small task. It is mentioned in the article that parents do not see the point of education. A teacher has to go from house to house explaining to the workers the importance of education and why they should get their children admitted to the school. Therefore, interaction and communication is the key. Firstly, transportation of essential items through the dense forest in the schools remain a big challenge. Secondly, developing infrastructure on the ground does not necessarily mean successful implementation of the project. So implementation of the idea is important. Thirdly, the existing schools of pre-primary and primary level need urgent focus. The fourth remaining challenge is related to the pandemic. The pandemic-induced learning loss has affected the tea garden children a lot. A lot of work is needed to bring children to the level of current syllabus. Talking to UPSC Essentials of Indian Express talks about the historical background of these Assam tea gardens and their marginalization of the workers. She also talks about how these schools as an initiative are important to sustain. Let's have a look. This was the case study for the week. Now let's go beyond this article. Major problems faced by students in rural areas remain the same as it was a decade before. Firstly, there's lack of quality teachers in rural areas, poor remuneration, absenteeism of teachers. Secondly, lack of transport and poor infrastructure. Thirdly, non-attendance and dropouts. Fourthly, government apathy and lack of finances. Fifth, inaccessibility of modern learning tools. Along with this, there is an important report of 2020 to 2021. This report is known as Unified District Information System for Education Plus. And it tells us that the annual dropout rate of secondary school student is 14.6%. Also, there was a poll conducted by UNICEF. According to this poll, 38% of the respondents knew at least one female student who had dropped out of school. Dear aspirants, there is going to be a government response for sure for these reports. So make sure whenever the response comes, you take a note of it. From today onwards, we are adding a small fun segment in our case study of the week. This is known as If I Were a Civil Servant. Remember, in our childhood, we used to write an essay, If I Were a Prime Minister. This is similar to that. So, dear future civil servants, if you had an opportunity to tackle the problem of school dropouts, what 3 steps could you think of? Remember, there's always a limit of the jurisdiction of civil servants. Also, think about some government policies which can help, if executed properly, to reduce the rate of school dropouts. Firstly, sit down and think, where can you use this case study and how, other than the case study section of GS paper 4. Secondly, think about those government policies which are used to tackle the problem of school dropouts in our country. To read more about this article, go to the link below and read the article on this particular issue. Also visit our case study of the week section of UPSC Essentials. The link is given below. Dear aspirant, UPSC Essentials is a dedicated section for UPSC preparation where we take up the issues like historical tidbits, case study of the week, key terms of the week, weekly news roundup, and many more. Make the best use of this initiative to speed up your preparation for civil services examination. UPSC Key and UPSC Essentials are 2 initiatives of Indian Express which can help you in your civil services preparation. So, subscribe to Indian Express for more such videos. Think smart, work hard, conquer your goal.